pretty sure I have a holster like this big. You know what? It's one of the two. No, so it's probably just yours because you have all the bullshit running back there. We all have it. Yep, I know it's insanely annoying, but deal with it. Cool hat. Massive red bar for me.
If you ever don't want it anymore, it might take it.
Nah, I'll never get it. It's got the World Series fucking emblem on the side.
But once next season starts, you can't wear that anymore.
I will never wear it again after today. But it is. Yeah, I know.
What are they going to pay him?
$200 million. Yeah, he'll get. I bet he'll get like 7 years, 250 million.
Who did?
Fucking Diamond Don.
Good morning. It is Friday, October 25th, 2019, back in this beautiful studio in Indianapolis, Indiana! Had to do that mostly to wake myself up. Landed late last night from Houston. We were on a plane that was flying 750 miles an hour. I have no clue how the body can hold, but we did. We survived. We will survive. Hey, NFC Offensive Player of the Month feels like it's going to Kirk Cousins, or will it be Aaron Rodgers? Ty Schmidt, what do you think?
Well, I just mentioned it. I think the passing numbers, that's always the sexy stat to look at. But wins against the other quarterback is usually a good indicator as well. Cousins doesn't have any of those against Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers definitely gets the win over the Vikings, but that offense is an entirely new team now for the last few weeks. Ever since Stephon Diggs sat out of practice, they get fined $200,000. Adam Thielen has a little outburst after the game, shot at Zimmer. Kirk Cousins thinks it's a shot at him. Kirk Cousins show goes national, goes massive, biggest podcast in history, apologizing to Thielen, makes Diggs mad. Diggs gets fined $200,000. Now all of a sudden they're an offensive juggernaut winning ugly games, 19-9 on Thursday nights. Can't cover 16, but they can get another W against a terrible football team. Case Keenum gave the ball away a couple times early. We'll talk to Michael Lombardi about the game last night and all things happening in the NFL. Michael Bennett was traded to the Cowboys. Feel like we were just talking about this yesterday. It was a wild scene. Michael Bennett won't start for the Cowboys is what I'm being told. We'll ask Lombardi about that. What a fall from grace for that guy. But if he wants to be good, I think that's a guy that if he wants to be good, he could definitely be good at any given moment.
Mayfield wears shoulder pads.
I respect the fact that he wears little to no padding. It's like Frank Gore.
Yeah.
Frank Gore wears like next to no pads. I just respect the fact. But you go to the Patriots to win. That's what you do. And then if you don't like what they have you doing and you're still winning, it's tough to be like, well, this isn't what I thought it was. Yeah, it is kind of. Gets a new home in Dallas, though. That team, if they can continue to play like they did just last week, not all the weeks before that, but just last week, they could be an incredible team. By the way, obligatory Cowboys talk within the first 3 minutes of the show. Good for us. Go ahead and knock that one off the list. Shout out to SMU last night going 8-0 over the Houston Cougars. That Houston Cougars team, though, and I said it during the broadcast a couple of times, like what a resilient bunch, a persistent group, and people are like, yeah, D1 athletes, they should be resilient. It's like that team redshirted the best player in the conference to build for next year, got a lot of injuries, scrapped it out, almost beat an undefeated team on a national stage. Even though SMU got the win, I think the Houston Cougars ultimately in the end should feel very good about that. I like that SMU Mustangs team, though, especially after the tornado that came through Dallas. $2 billion in damages occurred just the day before 2 days before the game. They put on for Dallas strong. Good win for them last night. Going into the weekend, we're going to have some locks for you. Can't wait to make money with our friends at FanDuel. If you're in Indiana right now, Colts money line, instead of being minus 240, which everybody else has, if you use FanDuel.com/McAfee and utilize the promo code McAfee when it gets in there, your bet for the Colts money line plus 100.
Wow.
Ooh. Even money?
That is quite a change of odds. Even money if you're in Indiana to bet on the Colts to win this weekend. You don't have to know anything about gambling at all. Yeah, I think the Colts are going to win this weekend. FanDuel.com/McAfee, even money. Everybody else is getting it minus 240. Shout out to FanDuel. Shout out to you for listening. Let's wrap this week up in beautiful fashion. Ty and I are probably running on about 3 hours of sleep combined. Let's have a Friday. 10:04. Foxy, play some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication. 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is Chase Rice. He's on tour. Go check him out. Speaking of on tour, we've been all around the country, but today it's great to be home. Joining me in studio, all the fellas. At Todd Mccomas is on the casting couch. How's it going, Todd?
Good, buddy. Lots of coffee.
Yeah.
Traveling, it's a different game. Yeah. My first trip with you guys. I've much more respect for what you do, even more so than I had before.
Yeah, pretty insane, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the schedule's just stupid.
Yeah, it is.
It's hilarious. It's incredibly awesome.
It's incredibly awesome.
But it's stupid. I mean, especially when you got to sit 2 hours to get into a World Series game because you can't find your tickets because they're in the closet. So instead of napping for 2 hours or maybe getting 2 hours of sleep whenever you're on a sleep-deprived schedule, instead you got to deal with the World Series, the Zone, and the MLB, not figuring out where the hell the tickets are. Then you get into the game, you get yelled at by MLB Network employees. I mean, it just never ends. But yeah, so this one's a little bit different than most trips, but yeah, we appreciate you coming. We had a lot of fun. Nick Ronaldo's back on the ones and twos instead of that terrible DJ Zeke. How's it going?
Come on. Zeke had a strong start, but just couldn't keep up.
Well, the issue is with Zeke is he's busy.
Story of my life.
His blood sugar dropped.
Jeez. The thing about Zeke is he's got to spell graphics wrong. You know? He's got to put things up on the screen. So music is like kind of, it became an added task that was just kind of like way down the line for him. So what he would do, and you could see him go, we're going, and he would just pick a song. He had no idea what it was. And we have to go from this hack list of copyright-free music. So I can't blame Zeke, but boy, some of them are very tough. People are saying we lost a lot of listeners when that terrible music came.
Oh, don't put that on me.
No, we did. Yeah, we almost dropped a couple stations. They said.
Great.
Don't you put that on me.
We almost lost San Francisco when you put that garbage gangster rap on.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, we almost lost our biggest city. Right
That was actually my cousin.
You know, Zito's cousin?
Yeah.
Great. Well, tell your cousin not to do that anymore. We got a message from 1077
The Bone.
They said we will not share a radio station with somebody that plays that terrible music because 1077
The Bone.
only plays bangers. At Tone Diggs is here. Diggs, how's it going, bub?
I'm excited for the first full legal gambling weekend of my entire life.
I know. Just go on your phone with FanDuel. Now it's in Indiana. It's way too easy, by the way.
Yeah, it's scary.
And it's all regulated, so you like have confidence too. So
Yeah.
it's like back in the day, whenever we used to gamble online. I mean, allegedly, obviously, we would bet Monopoly money and stuff, not real money. You would place a bet, and you had no idea if that ever was coming back. Even if you were right, you had no clue what was going on with that money. Now with FanDuel, completely regulated, the whole world's about to experience this in just probably a couple months when everybody opens it up. It is incredible. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And Nick, by the way, is on a hockey heater right now. Whoa. Don't let Nick get hot on these hockey bets. He really is. And I'm not sure if he's just telling me what he, like the fade. I think he's telling me what he's betting on is actually the opposite of what he's betting on. I don't care what it is. He's been giving me some locks, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, the heater was news to me, but I had one good tip for you. I said the other night, Tampa versus Penguins. Penguins were going to lose that for sure.
See, and I thought you were definitely betting on the Pens, so you were just telling me what the fade was, which
Nope.
I appreciated even more. Like saying, hey, this is what I'm betting on. Definitely going to go the opposite direction. You're welcome. And that also, by the way, good gambling tips. If you have a friend who stinks, not a bad thing to understand that and utilize that to your advantage, especially with our friends at FanDuel. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, good luck in everything you got going on this weekend.
I appreciate that. Same to you, pal.
You're going to be gambling on a lot of stuff.
stuff.
A lot of stuff gambling on. I mean, we're talking.
We're rolling the dice.
We're rolling the dice this weekend. Old Tone Diggs, shout out to you. Ty Schmidt, you had to edit a podcast this morning as soon as we landed from Houston. You went to a World Series game. You're a big-time baseball fan. How do you feel about your state of life in general?
I'm okay. I'm pretty sure I have an ulcer like the size of a bowling ball growing inside my stomach right now. But
What's
outside
that
of
from? What's that from? Is that from the energy drinks that you don't do anymore, by the way?
Well, I had a Red Bull this morning, but
You went off the wagon.
yeah, I know.
no.
Well, sometimes you just need it. You just need that shot in the arm, you know. And
Is your lady listening? She's not going to be happy that you got back on that Red Bull.
that was the first one I've had in a couple months, so I think it's okay.
This is like a Francesa Diet Coke thing.
Yeah, it really is. But, you know, I don't know. I think it's just a mixture of eating bad, not getting any sleep, traveling all the time.
And an exuberant amount of chaw.
Yeah.
Anger just
ladies
building
not
up.
gonna be
Yeah,
happy about that
the stress of having stuff not being set up when we get to the places when we're told it is
Yes,
set up, like
see?
that does kind of take a toll on you as well.
Well, I'm proud of you.
I'm happy to be home.
Great city, though.
Yeah.
Great city, though.
And yeah, you know, outside of that, everything's been great. Love the travel. Haven't got my throat slashed yet. Haven't got roughed up. My wallet's stolen. So,
Hey, you know what? Houston, beautiful city, by the way.
oh my God, the best.
That place was awesome.
Yeah, great food.
Now, geographically, Houston is like 7,000 miles or something like that.
Well, everything's bigger down there.
Well, not only that, Houston is I think they just drew a circle around a massive part of Texas, and they're like, this is all the city of Houston. It is huge. They're going to be the third largest city in the country in no time, I would assume. But it's very beautiful down there. I mean, it is very, very nice down there. Good stuff to use. Greg from the Astros organization, probably top 5 worst guy I've ever met.
Yeah.
But everybody else in Houston, good people.
Yeah, he's pretty much the only bad person, I think.
In Houston?
Yeah, like when you go on their city tourism website, there's like him in the corner. It's like everything else is awesome. Just don't go near Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
The Astros are also cleaning house, so he might not have a job
Yes.
too much longer.
How about assistant GM? Buffoon, I guess, of a man.
Obviously.
Gets fired in the middle of the World Series. Good for you, bub. What an idiot.
No kidding.
What an absolute buffoon. That's tough to do. Imagine halftime of Super Bowl, defense coordinator fired. That would be hilarious. Assistant GM, I don't know what the hell he does. Wow. Very close right there.
Good catch.
Letting one fly.
Pretty much like a glorified assistant, I think. I mean, he's not making any moves. He's basically getting the GM like his coffee and like printing stuff out for him. Very hard to get fired from that job.
Or it could be
if
Jonah
it's-
Hill.
Could be Jonah Hill. I doubt it, though. You've seen the guy? I don't think so.
No, I haven't.
You're saying he's not running numbers out there.
No.
Yeah, at Jason McAfee on the mics right there. Had us hot early, which is good. Good for the team. At Viva Lazito, how are you, bub?
Doing very well. A lot of graphics right now.
A lot of graphics. We got a lot of guests today. We got
Mr. Lombardi,
and
Mr. CJ2K.
okay, CJ2K's coming on.
Yes, sir.
Learned that this morning. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and have a great conversation with him. Adam Foxy, how you doing, pal?
Fantastic, Pat. You brought up Greg. You know, I'm not much of a complainer, but I'm blaming him for us and our seats being changed.
so I could not catch a foul ball at that World Series game and get redemption.
How nice would that have been for you to get a nice little piece of redemption?
Would have been so easy. We probably been 5 rows from the ballpark. Instead, we had to get slapped all the way back.
I would like it. We are a hardworking bunch, a humble bunch, used to things happening. But whenever you go to a Yankees game and you're on television, you're in the clubhouse basically watching the game. It's tough to experience baseball any other way. I mean, granted, sitting at the security for 2 hours was a little bit of a different experience at a baseball game.
We became keychains, though.
We did. Keynotes, by the way, on Instagram. KEIKNOWTZ was the security guy that sat right next to us for 2 hours. Kid's got some pipes. He can sing.
Voice of an angel.
Had a performance for us about an hour and 45 minutes in.
So good.
Should have been asking him to do that earlier. It was like America's Got Talent almost. It was unbelievable.
I'd like to be known that everyone at the Astros organization was nice to us except for
Greg.
Greg.
They know us, too. By the way, you go to a Houston Astros game, and you go, do you remember the crew that was sitting outside? They're like, oh, yeah. Everybody came through. Everybody. The head of security, head of maintenance, I think, came through. The grounds crew came through, I think, to help us at one point.
We met the Ups at one point.
Very nice. We did. Blue, by the way, I heard they're called. Yep. Learned a lot. They have black shirts on, though.
Yeah.
What's that all about? Another reason why baseball
It used to
stinks.
always be blue. I don't know what the change.
Colorblind.
So you also thought that Chris Johnson ran 57 miles an hour? Is that what you thought?
Yeah, I think he did. I think he clocked in one time, like at 62 maybe.
Yeah, that's probably right. 10-14. Let's get to a break. Michael Lombardi's on the other side. We'll break down that Vikings-Redskins game last weekend. He's old school football guy, right? Been around a long time. Now he talks gambling a lot on VSiN. Wonder how he feels about Baker Mayfield. Feels like a lot of the old whites hate the Baker Mayfield. That's what it feels like. Now, granted, he's Italian, which you guys are your own race.
We are.
So classifying you as an old white is a very interesting decision by me, but you get it. I wonder if he likes or hates Baker, to be honest with you. For some reason, I think Lombardi might like Baker Mayfield. Wow. I could be wrong. We'll find out. Baker doubled down on his refs comments, though. Hey, I respect it. I mean, it's going to cost him money.
Yeah.
But so is a picture of your quarterback naked in the background. So things like that are going to happen. 10-15, NFL chatter on the other side. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this DAZN app is the home of a few things. This show, in Canada, they have all the NFL rights. And worldwide, they have one of the most exciting fighters to ever exist. You heard the announcement. I think they're paying him $900 million per fight. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who is incredible in the ring, Canelo Alvarez. Oh, how you like it, pal? Uppercut. Hi, Lucan. Autism on the trunks. Down goes Guy from a shot to the kidney. Top 3 moments here. Don't sleep, cuz. Carlos Baltimore. Night. What's that, Todd? Right on a button, they say? Yeah. Oh! This dude's throwing cinder blocks off his... Oh, that dude lost his old snot. Oh, my. Dead? That guy's dead. Oh. That was Canelo Alvarez's top 5 knockouts. You can catch all of Canelo Alvarez's fights right here on DAZN. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Joining us now is a man who was in the NFL for a long, long, long time. Now he's become the favorite of Anthony Tone Diggs DeGilio on the microphone, and for us, he's become an incredible recurring guest. Man who knows gambling, he knows the front office side of the NFL, and he knows the coaching side of the NFL. Man with a big brain, Mr. Michael Lombardi.
Good morning, Pat. I want to know one thing.
Yeah, buddy.
I was following you last night on Twitter as you did your SMU. Were you wearing pants or not?
No, I had shorts on, man. It was hot down there. It was thick. I think that was the last game I'm going to be able to do that. So I have the mullet suit on. Business on top, party on the bottom, brother. Let these thighs and calves breathe a little bit. You know what I mean?
I understand that. Your travel is amazing. I mean, you are truly Batman. You can get from one place to the other in remarkable time.
I'm not wearing hockey pads. That's a Batman quote. That's the only one I know. I feel pretty good about it. Mr. Lombardi, you see this ticker we got in the studio now?
No, I didn't. I can't see it. I can only see you in a little caption. I can't see that.
Well, I just want to let you know that we got a ticker now in the office making us feel very, very sophisticated. We got to deal with FanDuel. A lot of gambling happened. I mean, we're really having a good time here.
Awesome.
Let's talk now about what happened last night. 19-9. The Vikings were minus 16. From what I've been told, they didn't punt. They had control of the game. They only scored 19 points. What was your take on Kirk Cousins last night? And is he going to be the NFC Offensive Player of the Month? I think he has to be.
By far, he has to be. I mean, look, he's been remarkable. He's thrown 10 touchdown passes, 1 interception. He controlled the football. I mean, they controlled the game. I mean, as you know from playing, there's two things that fans have to look at. And bettors, people that are investing in football, always have to be cognizant of this. Who's in the lead and who's in control. And last night, Minnesota was in control and in the lead at all times. Now, when Haskins came in, that was truly a break for
Wait a minute. When did Haskins come in? That's a big deal. That was a big decision that had to be made there.
Yeah, well, no, it was a concussion by Case Keenum. He had to come in. I think it's a closer game if Keenum plays. Haskins comes in, throws an interception after in the third quarter. It's 4th and inches, and Mike Zimmer at his own 40 decides to go for it. And the game's in balance. He's only up 16-9 at this point, and you think he's got a chance to, he wants to put the game away at this point by controlling the ball. He goes for it. It's one of the worst quarterback sneaks you'll ever see. They get stuffed they lose, actually. How do you lose a half a yard on a quarterback sneak? Seriously.
It's very tough.
Very tough. They do. Then 2 plays later, my man Haskins overthrows the receiver by about 3 feet, and they intercept the pass, and then they go down and make the field goal to make it 19-9, and the game's over. But, the line opened at 16, and I try to do power ratings every week myself because I think the power ratings sometimes are often misconstrued, especially, as you know, home field advantage. Some places are worth 3 points. Some places aren't.
Agreed.
And I think you need to adjust that.
Yeah, I think so, too. The thought that Dwayne Haskins was an incredibly accurate quarterback in college football. I mean, he was a prolific quarterback in college football, which is why I think a lot of people are like, let's put him in. We don't get to see his day-to-day, his progressions, reading things. Every week is an all-star game. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. You're playing against the best players you've ever played against. And just a little bit of a miss is a problem. You said 3 feet miss. That's only 1 yard in the grand scheme of things. There's been many worse overthrows in college and in the NFL. But in the NFL, you get punished for it. I mean, that's just what happens. And that's interesting because Dwayne Haskins, whenever he was in earlier in the year, he threw a pick rather early as well. I mean, granted, a lot of rookie quarterbacks throw a lot of picks, but did you see anything out of Dwayne Haskins that makes you think, you know what, this guy is going to be the franchise guy for the Redskins going forward? Because they're going to have to make that decision with their next head coach.
Yeah, I know. And Brett Favre, I think, has the greatest line about this of all time. Brett Favre says that every NFL quarterback can throw the ball through the door. And really good quarterbacks can hit the doorknob. But the great ones have to be able to throw it through the keyhole. And I think that's really the mark of accuracy. Can you throw the ball through the keyhole in clutch times? I mean, do you remember a game you played? You might have been there at Indianapolis. You're playing Baltimore in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah. In the corner, Dallas Clark.
And Manning throws that ball into a window to Dallas Clark to win the game on 3rd and 4?
Yeah.
You know the play I'm talking about. That was through the keyhole. That's how great you have to be able to excel at this level in the NFL. And I just thought, frankly, I don't see Haskins being that accurate. I think that's the play, Pat, that I always use when I'm looking at college quarterbacks. Can you make this throw that Manning made on the road in Baltimore against a good defense in a clutch situation?
I'm just not sure you're going to find a lot of guys that can do that. I mean, that was a magical situation. And Dallas Clark never gets enough credit. So anytime we can make a Dallas Clark reference, I'm 100% cool with that. Old school guy. He's working on a farm right now. He's literally on a farm right now. Made like $700 million. Bro, he is on a farm right now in Iowa. That guy was a great teammate. No gloves, old school. Like him a lot. Okay, let's move to the weekend slate of games for the end. Oh, let's talk about okay, now this is a big moment here because going into the break, I said I thought you potentially might like this guy. I'm not 100% sure, though. Baker Mayfield doubles down on his comments about the refs. Mike Florio says he's basically enticing the NFL to fine him again. How do you feel about Baker Mayfield as a whole in this situation in general?
You know, I wish Baker would take a lower-key approach. I really do. I think Baker has struggled, and when you watch him play, on throws over 10 yards, Pat, Baker Mayfield has thrown completed 28 passes and 64 attempts on throw over 10 yards. Oh. He's not been able to make throws down the field. And when he is rushed in the pocket and he is controlled in the pocket by the pass rush, he has a hard time seeing. I wish he would take a step back and put his mouth on the field as opposed to just talking.
Hey, what's he supposed to do, though? I mean, he has to talk to the media every day, you know? Is he supposed to swallow his personality? That's like a real question that I have.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there's ways to do it. I'm not saying, look, we're all different, but I think there's ways to do it. I think there's, when you're talking to the media, I think he can elicit the temperament of his teammates by motivating them with what he says. And I think if he does that, he can certainly use the media to his full advantage. But I think his play on the field has to speak in better volumes. When you've only completed 28 passes out of 64 on throws over 10 yards, you're not playing very well. And I think you need to really be aware of that.
Hey, that was an incredible – because I didn't think you were going to be able to answer that question, by the way. I thought I stumped you. And you came out with, you got to elicit the motivation of your team. I mean, that was magical. And that's what you do see from a lot of the greats, right, is everybody pawns it off on everybody else, basically. But you could – yeah, exactly. I mean, it's what the greats do.
I mean, when I worked for Al Davis, he used to say all the time, you're talking to three groups of people whenever you talk. And I would tell Baker this in a meeting. I would say, Baker, look, I'm not going to curtail your personality. You're the first pick of the draft because you have that chip. I mean, you didn't get recruited by Texas, from Austin from Lake Travis High School. You didn't get recruited. They didn't give you a scholarship. You had to walk on to Tech. Then you left there and you had to walk on. Look, I get you. I understand you. It's all you against the world. But let's regenerate that energy. Let's regenerate that passion into our teammates. And let's us build collectively a group of players that have the same chip you do. And let's focus it in the right direction.
What a speech right there. Hey, that's really impressive right there. I mean, that is a real thing, though, because whenever you're pawning off anything on everybody else, you're lifting up everybody. And any time my teammates spoke or the coaches spoke, the locker room's listening, right? Like, we get those clips, we see those. Like, Pro Football Talk is something that every human in the NFL reads the next day to get quotes from everything. I mean, it's just something that happens. It might as well be the home screen of almost every NFL coach because they're reading everything that everybody said on our team and on everybody else's team because that really sets the tone for a lot of things. You can learn a lot about other teams whenever you hear what their players are saying, by the way. That's something you can really learn. Speaking of this weekend, what are you looking at? What are you excited about? And will the Dolphins continue to go on their completely imperfect, completely defeated season on Monday Night Football against
Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, but is it Mason or Duck?
Mason.
I don't know if it's going to be the Duckster. I'm hoping it's the Duckster. I really do. I like to watch the Duckster play more. I think that's an interesting thing. Look, I think the Dolphins they've made their bet on who they are, right? We know they're not going to. They competed. They had the mighty Buffalo Bills down 14-10. They got a chance to go up. They got a chance to go up in that game, except Ryan threw an interception on the 1-yard line. They played Buffalo as well as anybody's played Buffalo all year. And I think Buffalo this week against Philadelphia, it's an interesting line, Pat. I mean, Philly's getting 2.5 points on the road. That's remarkable, right? And I think Philly, when you look at Buffalo, they've lost. They were down 16-0 to the Jets. They come back. They were down to 17-14 to the Bengals and come back. You know, the Giants was 17-14, and all of a sudden the Giants gave up a late touchdown. And then Miami, it's 24-21 late in the game, and they onside kick it, and they get a touchdown and make it a 10-point lead. I think Philly will go in there and play well. Philly can't turn the ball over. Philly's 3 wins, they don't have a turnover. In their 4 losses, they have 7.
The Philadelphia Eagles +2. You're saying take that?
Absolutely. I'm all over it.
Really? I trust you. I want to let you know I trust you, but that is not something I expected to hear. Any boost of confidence towards the Eagles? Is that because you live near Philadelphia over there in New Jersey?
Oh, no, Pat. I'm not a homer by far. No. You can call me a lot of things, but don't call me a homer now. I think that the Eagles, this. You can speak to this better than I can. But there's a sense of desperation.
Yeah.
And if they lose this game, that desperation will be gone, and they're 3-5. And in the NFC, being 3-5, thinking you're going to make the playoffs is over.
What else are you looking for?
And I'm always going to go with a team that's desperate.
Yeah.
I'm always going to go with the desperate team.
What else are you looking at this weekend? What pops your eye? I'm trying to make some money, so I'm taking Philly
I
plus.
like the doggies this week. I love the Giants against the Lions. I really do. I love the doggies. I think that the Giants will be able to move the football against a Lions team that doesn't really rush very well. They only rush 3, rush 4. They rarely blitz. I think Daniel Jones will have a good day. This whole Diggs trade has upset the locker room in Detroit. I don't think the players get it. I'm not sure they're going to be buying all in. I thought the Raiders will go down and play the Texans really good. I'm going to take the Raiders in the points. I'm going to take the Giants in the points, and I'm going to take the Jets. As gross as that sounds to anybody, I'm going to take the Jets in that point.
Hey, you're saying some absurd things. Now, listen, I will trust you, and I'm going to put money down on this. But I mean,
I'm 19-11-1 overall on my picks.
Okay, yeah, say no more, my friend.
I'm just saying. I don't wing this. I did not wing it. I didn't have my dog Bella come in and put her paw over teams. I can tell you that.
You know what else you did? You said Mohamed Sanu is going to end up at the Patriots last week. He's at the Patriots. Michael Bennett now with the Cowboys. There's a lot of moving and shaking going on with the Patriots right now, including IRing a guy that didn't even know he was going to go on IR. How have you felt about the moves this week? Emmanuel Sanders, I guess he wanted out. Von Miller said if he doesn't want to be a Bronco, get out of here. I'm excited to hear what happened after that Titans game. It's going to get leaked. Something happened with him. You talk about him, Nino gone, Josh Gordon IR, Bennett out, Mohamed Sanu. How do you feel about the moving and shaking that the NFL has done this week?
Well, I think Gordon just couldn't be compliant in the Patriot program. It just got the volume, being on time, doing all the things you got to do in New England. It's not easy. And Belichick tells the team, this isn't for everybody. And I think that wore out Josh. I think Emmanuel Sanders got a rebirth. I mean, look, they wanted Sanu in San Francisco. They couldn't get him. Once New England offered the second, San Francisco wasn't going to go there. But getting Emmanuel Sanders, I think, really helps Garoppolo. The 49ers are really a good team. Adding a receiver like Sanders, I'm not sure what Denver's going to do. They have 2 offensive linemen that have 9 holding penalties after 7 games. I've never heard of this in my life, and they don't bench either one of them. So I'm not sure what Denver's doing. I think it's a blessing to get Sanders out of there. Bennett didn't fit New England because New England's more about controlling the pass rusher and not running past them. Bennett will do a good job for Dallas, though. I think Bennett's still a really good player. He's a different cat. You got to handle him a different way. I think he'll be more comfortable in Dallas playing for the Jason Garrett, who I call the Clapper. I think that'll probably be a lot easier for him. And he's a good spitter, too, by the way. I think if I didn't name him the Clapper, I would have called him the spitter.
Or the Smiler. I mean, except for last time, he said he wants.
His hair is always it's like he went to wardrobe before he got on the field. I mean, your hair's not neatly tight like his is before a game, and you go on TV every Thursday night.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a miracle that I make it to those games, to be honest, but I appreciate that. Mr. Lombardi, who's going to win the MVP?
I think Russell Wilson will right now. I think if Deshaun Jackson and the Texans win the South, I think he could easily do it. But right now, to me, I don't understand this Mahomes thing. Why would he even try to play this week? I don't get that.
How about Drew Brees?
I mean, I think Brees, I think it comes down to can you take the snap, right? I mean, the Saints are going to play under center. Here's what I think people are missing on the Drew Brees conversation. Drew has an out in his contract next year. and Bridgewater's out. So Breeze knows that Bridgewater, if he keeps playing, he could be taking his job away from him next year. Not this year, but next year. So I think there's a little bit of that dynamic going on there. I got to get back and prove that I'm the man. I love that. I think that's healthy for a team. I don't think that's hurtful. And I think that, whereas Mahomes, for him to be effective, he's got to move. He's got to be able to run around and use his feet to make those plays down the field. And when he doesn't have a knee, I worry about that.
Well, and to your point about Drew Brees, I mean, Pat Mahomes is looking at $200 million or something like that. I don't know if I would want to play with a bum ankle and a bum knee. Now, granted, if his kneecap popped back into place and nothing happened, it's just like, oh, we're back to normal like people do with their shoulders. I'll be interested to see how that works out. If anything was strained, though, that's going to be awfully painful. Going to definitely what's the inhibit?
Hinder.
There it is. Hinder him a little bit.
It's good to have a thesaurus around.
This kid got accepted to Harvard. He chose to go to Iowa instead. If that says anything about anything, that is.
Well, he's probably wondering where Dallas Clark is right now. He'd probably like to go help him farm on that Iowa land. It's in their blood. They can't help it.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
He's got an ulcer in his stomach right now because of massive amounts of Red Bull and terrible dieting for about 30 years at this point. On the complete opposite side of terrible dieting, a man who is trying to live forever, which has become quite a topic of conversation this week. Old Shefty drops an atom bomb that says that he sees the fact that Brady's selling his house, his trainer's selling his house, his contract is void next year, that there could be some question marks on what Tom Brady's doing next year. Are you reading anything into this at all, or has this all been blown way out of proportion? And I think he's going to Chargers, but whatever you say, go ahead. I can't wait to hear it.
I just can't see Tom Brady doing a Joe Namath, doing a Johnny Unitas, doing a uniform that doesn't fit him, right? I don't see that. I think the guy he's always a Patriot, and I think Tom wants to be able to be respected, and I think he wants to be courted like a lot of players. And he's never been courted before, and I think being a free agent allows him to be courted, and I think he'll go back. I'm not sure in this world, the level that Tom lives in with private jets and a supermodel, does it really matter where he lives? Seriously, I mean, he can fly anywhere. He can helicopter in from wherever. It's not going to be an inconvenience. So I think 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2. I think that this is one of those situations where Tom could, at the end of the year, say, no, Ma, I'm done. If I win the next Super Bowl, it's over. Or, I want to be courted. I want to come back one more year and I want to make $30 million and let's do it. I can't imagine him saying goodbye to Robert Kraft and Bill and then going to the Chargers and working for the Spanos family. I just can't see that.
It'd be so interesting. Tom Brady is just getting flown around the country to different teams saying, hey, come look at our facilities. He's just doing research on all these teams.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then going back to the Patriots and winning another 5 Super Bowls. Yeah. Oh, my God, this is all part of the plan. It just hit me that this is all just a part of the plan. That's what it is. He's just going to go get notes on teams like, oh, they're doing this. Hey, Guerrero, maybe we add this to our thingy. They got this like little vibrating squat machine thing that does great for the glutes. Maybe we add this. That's all this is. I didn't even think about that. That's all this is. It's just a recruiting move.
I love it. Yeah, no, I mean, look, TB12 is right there at Patriot Place, right a stone's throw from the field. So, I mean, he's so vested in there. I mean, he's Tom Brady. I mean, and I just can't imagine him. Johnny Unitas looked horrible in a Charger uniform. So did Joe Namath. I mean, some of these, when they get, I give Peyton Manning.
That's on the flip side, though. The only thing you see is Peyton Manning in a Denver Bronco uniform right now. Any picture they post of Peyton Manning, it's in a Denver Bronco uniform.
I know. I mean, I get that one, but that's a little bit different. Like Brett Favre, do you remember him in a Jet uniform? I don't.
I remember him in a Falcon and a Viking jersey as well. Yes, I remember all of that. And the Jets jersey. Yeah, I do. Well,
I mean, maybe call me a traditionalist. I like the notion of a guy playing his career with one team, especially a guy that's had such an impact on what the franchise is about. I mean, look, the one thing I think the players make a huge mistake with is I think there should be players have driven the value of the franchise increasingly up. If Robert Kraft buys the Patriots at $125 million or $200 million, and now it's worth $4 billion, the players have paid a huge – that value comes from the players. I think one of the things the collective bargaining agreement should be, there should be a fund of the value of the franchise fund go to the players, ex-players, current players, because the players have really allowed the value of the franchise to go up, not the owner's brilliant business.
I'll tell you what. I'd like to see how that gets passed. Roger Goodell.
No, you know it's not going to.
No chance. But I would have loved to see.
It makes sense, though. It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes sense if you don't think about it. There's. Imagine DeMaurice Smith walking in there, just being like, "All right, this is what we're thinking. Percentage of the
1%
franchise.
of the franchise value is going to go to a fund." Yeah,
Roger Goodell will be like, "All right, here's 14 lawyers for you to try to get through to make that happen." Ladies and gentlemen, I enjoy this conversation every week. Thank you so much for joining us. We got to get to a break. 10:39. He has Philly, Giants, Raiders, and Jets this week as his picks.
Yep, that's what I have. You can call me an idiot next week if you want to do that. And if you don't call me, I know I blew the picks. I understand. I understand. I'm Italian. I know how I speak the picks.
Ladies and gentlemen, possibly the last appearance for him. We'll be back on the other side, 10:40 on this Friday, October 25th. You're listening to The Pat McAfee Show.
try.
This is a good song. This is a good one. This is new. There's that one country song that is slowly becoming the song of our show, and I don't like it. I don't like the song. I want to punch myself in the face. If you're an independent musician or have independent music friends, please send in their songs so we don't get sued. In this particular case, we don't have the video song rights. It's $3 million, I guess.
Just going to go ahead and delete that one right now.
The country music one? Smart. That's good. Because it ends up in Zeet's playlist, and Zeet's playlist is by far the worst in the history of sports talk radio. But also some heaters in there, Zeet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's not sell it short. There's some heaters in your selection.
The football, what was it, the pump-up songs were very, very good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was like jock jams out there. People are asking, though, Diggs, and you asked this question during the break, and I think it's a hilarious question.
Is Bill Belichick versus Freddie Kitchens this weekend the biggest mismatch of coaches of all time?
In the history of coaching.
Yes.
That is a hysterical thought, because if you watch the Freddie Kitchens Cleveland Browns here and you listen to Hut Gut in the offseason on Get Up where he said Freddie Kitchens is way over his head. This is not what he's supposed to do. Then the team kind of goes out to bat for him. Then the team's the least disciplined team. They can't move the ball, and there's a lot of bad stuff here at the start of the season. I guess we could see after this bye week if Freddie Kitchens was able to cook because he's got a couple weeks, self-eval, go ahead and change some things. But, I mean, there can't be anything worse for the Cleveland Browns after the bye week. Just drop the baseball. There can't be anything worse. Don't drop the ball. Ball security's job security. There can't be anything worse for the Browns in their bye week, thinking that they can right the ship, than having to play the New England Patriots. Like, what a nightmare. Because every week is like a bye week mindset or brain and strategy thing with Belichick because he thinks double as fast as every other coach. Like, he figures out the game plan for the other team, I think, probably faster than other teams figure it out. And then they're able to coach it better than other teams are. That's just facts and stats. Every week is a new season for the Patriots. Who knows what type of team they're going to be. Gronk said, 1 week we'll run for 300 yards, and then next week we'll throw for 500 and run for 20 yards. It's just the way we do it. It's just the way things are.
I have a question. Is that hard to do, to game plan every week? I assume most teams did it, and then I keep finding out that the Patriots are the only team that does it.
So a lot of people have the mindset of nameless, faceless opponents. If we're our best us, if we run our offense, we have our identity, we do our thing, we'll set the tone for the other team. Okay, so they're built to be a running team. We're built to be this type of team. So this is what we're going to do. This is our game. They're either going to stop us or they're not.
So we're going to play on our strengths instead of playing on their weaknesses.
Exactly. And on au contraire, the greatest team in the history of football has said, we're going to get football players here who can adapt. We're going to get a team that can be built to do both. And each week is going to be an entirely new game plan. By the way, I'm not sure if I was on a team that did that or not. I have no idea. I mean, I was not in the meetings. I don't think so. It really felt like we didn't. It was just like, if Andrew Luck can do it and then if Peyton can do it. I would assume back when the Colts were, Peyton was doing a lot of that, probably attacking players and stuff like that. But we were a pass-heavy offense. I mean, that's just what it was. I bet you that keeps it fresh for the players, though, right? Because each week you have to come in there and learn maybe new plays, a new style. Let's say, hey, this week, this particular safety and this coverage does this. We're going to do this with that. Whole new wrinkle to the offense. It probably keeps it fresh for these players, too. And there are also a lot of very smart football players up there. That's why some people don't work up there. So they have the ability to learn quickly, so they're just dominant like that. And let's assume that Belichick has watched his Browns team. Let's assume Belichick, I think he was fired from the Browns at one point. Let's assume that Belichick, whenever he doesn't like a player, he trades him. Doesn't like what a player did, he trades him to Cleveland. Let's assume that Belichick doesn't have a lot of appreciation for the Cleveland Browns. And this is probably one that he, is excited about like he is every single week. But boy, Freddie Kitchens, the NFL just did not help him out here. Did not do any favors. Because if you have a terrible team after bye week, at least pundits like us can say, you know what, though? After the bye week, he turned some things around. His team looked better against this trash team. He did this. It looked like they were able to get this guy involved in offense a little bit more. Looked like the defense was able to do this. Didn't give us up as many penalties. Like, we could say that after a bye week. Like, hey, that's on the coaching. We got to give him credit. Instead, he gets to walk his ass from Alabama right into a buzzsaw. And it's just, there's nothing. You're going to give him guy 4 weeks. What are you going to do, Freddie Kitchens? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. So there's going to be quite an overreaction about the Browns stinking after this game, I would assume, because it's the Browns.
Can't
and
wait
they have
for it.
Can't wait. But, I mean, this is just, yes, I would assume that this is close. I mean, Hugh Jackson coached in the NFL, right?
Yes.
So let's assume that guy had a few mismatches going into every single week probably. But this one seems to be a tough one for Freddie Kitchens. But I'm not sure we've seen Freddie Kitchens continue or completely blossom into a head coach. I don't think we might never see him blossom into a good head coach. I have no idea. But I think he's in quite a learning phase right now. And those Cleveland Browns fans, the dog pound, I think they're getting a bit antsy, as they should.
He's a stone in the river.
Oh. What was that?
He's a stone in the river.
Smooth?
Yeah, he's not sharp. There's nothing
really
about
meant smooth.
it.
I thought you meant just like there's one of them.
No, he's just round and not a sharp thing about him.
Come on. I guess there's some people that can't skip rocks, by the way. I
What?
just learned that. I was talking to one of these college football.
Freddie's probably one of them.
You don't think he can skip a rock? I bet you he can skip a rock now.
I bet you he can make some nice plate of nachos. Tell you what, of all my coaches in the league, if you had to ask me which coach do you want to make your nachos, that guy knows how to make some nachos.
Hey, that's an art.
Yes.
Nachos is an art. You get too much cheese in there, then chips get soggy. I don't mind a little. I've been on a guac kick, but it's tough to make. I mean, it's tough to make. It's too much. You're right, though. There is a real art to the nachos, and I think it all comes from experience, to be honest.
Yeah, you can tell by looking at him. He gets it.
I think he was like a Dale Doback nacho guy, where he's just sprinkling the shredded cheese on top and putting them in the microwave.
Not a lot of thought to it.
Hey, not a bad play there either. I mean, let's not go after Doback too much.
No, it gets the job done. But.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, if you actually bake bacon, so much better.
Oh, incredible.
I had no idea.
What are you microwaving it like a savage?
Oh, I mean, I would. I'm not scared of that. Usually I put them on the thing, and the thing just pops off onto me, the pan.
Oh, the grease pops.
Yeah, and you just get
it's
burned.
sizzling. Bacon.
Yeah, just get right in the
Get a
chest.
nice wire rack in
get in
there.
the face. Yeah, you do that whole thing. But you put that, Sam's been putting it in the oven.
Oh, yeah.
She's been baking the bacon, which makes sense, it sounds like. I never experienced it till like my last couple months.
It cooks
ago.
it so much more evenly.
so
like
good.
crispiness is the same on one end throughout the other. You know?
Freddie Kitchens knows that, though. See, that's something Freddie Kitchens knows.
I mean, he puts his heart into it.
I like Freddie Kitchens as a guy. I bet he's hilarious, but he's got no shot going in this week. I don't know what spread is. Definitely
11.5.
Where at?
New England.
Oh, my.
Odell said the last time he played New England, he played Belichick. Belichick came up to him before the game and said, "You might as well take today off. There's not going to be a lot for you to do."
That's true. I mean, that's just what happens. I mean, that's just what Belichick does. But Odell hasn't really been used. So I'll be interested to see it because it's like a compliment to the player, by the way. Like it started happening to T.Y. Hilton up there, and T.Y. Hilton viewed it as a compliment because we had Reggie and T.Y. And I think one time they may have singled up Reggie and then they had double on T.Y. That was a massive moment in T.Y.'s career, I'd assume. Like, hey, this is a big moment because they had double Reggie for his entire career, basically. And then I think they put their best corner and then had second corner and safety on him, so they were able to do both there. But that's like a big-time compliment if Bill Belichick singles you out. You know what I mean? Like if he goes, hey, you're going to do this. But Odell Beckham hasn't really been the threat of that offense. To be honest, it's been the running back.
Correct.
So I'll be intrigued to see if the way Patriots operate, they want to take away your strength. The running back's been their only strength. So if they're going to load the box, is this the week that finally the offensive weapons that they have get loose? Or is this another week of Baker Mayfield missing passes because he's under duress because that offensive line is not great? They haven't been able to get Trent Williams or trade anybody in, and it's just going to be more of the same. Take the hammer out. You heard it. It's not great at baseball. Matt Hasselbeck has not made great decisions for us saying the Vikings minus 16. But when I swing this hammer on football, everybody knows it's a lock. Patriots minus 11. Hammer that thing as hard as you possibly can, especially in Foxborough. All the talk of Tom Brady leaving, all the talk of this, all the talk of that. This feels like a Patriots rout out of nowhere, too. Probably early, like first half. The old squirrel's going to get loose. Philip Dorsett's going to get loose. And Mohamed Sanu's probably going to throw for 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's a new toy. It's a new toy for them. I think they get bored almost. And this new guy, oh man, did you see what he do? Yeah, he could jump over everybody. Let's throw maybe we throw a couple fades on like our own 25. Just have jump balls for first downs. Just for fun. Just because this is preseason for us until Thanksgiving. It's going to be a rout. It's going to be a blowout. That stinks for the Browns. I mean, that's tough. You have to come out of your bye week to that.
You're right, though. The games that they've had success, Chubb has gone off. So I assume they try to stop Chubb and then make Baker beat them.
Still have the best corner in the game.
Yeah. I mean, Gilmore's still.
That's tough. Minus 11. That's probably going to go up as we get closer to the game, if I had to guess. 10:55. No clue why you listen to this show. CJ 2K on the other side. What a week this has been. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
of your medication. 2 hours of magic, let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Chase Rice, for that heater. We're back in Indianapolis, Indiana after an incredible week that saw us in New York and Houston last night for the SMU Houston game. Shout out to the SMU Mustangs getting a win for Dallas after the $2 billion damage that was incurred by tornadoes this week to go to 8-0 over the Houston Cougars, who were riddled with injury but still made it a game late. Came down to an almost Hail Mary. SMU with the sack to close it out on Clayton Tune. That Cougars team is going to be very good next year. I would just like everybody to know that. Is there a beeping sound?
I believe there is a construction vehicle backing up somewhere.
Into our studio? It sounds like this construction truck is backing directly into our studio. Big shout out to the contractors around our building. 11:02 here. Michael Lombardi in the first hour talks about how the Vikings felt like they were in control of that entire game last night. And I didn't get a chance to watch it, obviously, because I'm playing or I'm commentating another game on another channel in the college level. But it's interesting to hear what he said about Kirk Cousins and how they felt like they were in control of that game the entire time. And then the fourth and a half a yard, they lose a half a yard. And it was time for Dwayne Haskins to show up for the Redskins. And he throws a pick immediately, and then it becomes 19-9 for the Vikings, and it kind of gets put away. That Vikings team has become an entirely different team. An entirely different team since the public meltdown. And I can appreciate the fact that it took a little bit to get them there, because public shaming is always the way to shame somebody. I mean, that's just the way it goes. That's why Greg at the Houston Astros organization has to be better at his job. That guy stinks. And I'll say it until he gets better at his job, until somebody tells me he's better at his job. Greg at the Houston Astros stinks. But that truck sounds like it's in our building. And how long can it be backing up for? I mean, where could it be backing up to? You know what I mean?
We don't have that much room for it to be backing up this long. Surprised your dad.
I hear it.
Surprised your dad isn't out there.
No, we just stepped on the end of it there, I think.
Yep.
It was very loud. It was getting loud. I think he might run into our building right out here. That's insane. Tim McAfee's going to go out there and, hey, trying to do a show here. Can you turn the beeper down? That Vikings team is incredible, but they just so happen to be in the same division as another guy who might be up for the NFC Offensive Player of the Month, which is Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. The NFC is a place where if you're not winning now, you're going to be gone very soon. I mean, it's going to be rest in peace to a lot of teams' playoff hopes relatively soon. And I'm excited for that kind of all unfoil this weekend. A lot of big-time games. We ended the last hour talking about how the Patriots, I actually brought out the hammer on the Patriots minus 11 against the Browns this weekend, even though the Browns are coming off a bye week, and the Browns are healthy, and people are taking a quote by Jarvis Landry completely out of context. A lot of people are like, oh, he's guaranteeing a win, especially on Twitter. I mean, on Twitter, it was like, Jarvis Landry guaranteed to win, guaranteed to win, guaranteed to win. Jarvis Landry just gave all the bulletin board material you could possibly need for the Patriots and blah, blah, blah. I mean, granted, I do think the Patriots operate in a way where they like to hear stuff like that and they enjoy to get that going, especially because the Browns have been the team that have been overhyped. They're not overhyped, but they've been hyped.
Overhyped, for
They've
sure.
been overhyped, for sure. So the fact that Tom Brady now in the Patriots, who are still at the top of the mountain 18 years in, I'm sure they enjoyed hearing all the hype in the AFC about the Cleveland Browns. I'm sure this is a game that they were like, oh, is that right? Oh, is that right? Oh, is it the Browns division now? I picked them to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season, Browns. Mostly because everybody else picked all my choices. I was the last one to select. But also because I thought the Browns were going to be good at football. Everybody did. And that's not something that the Patriots just let slip by. Even if Jarvis Landry gets misquoted, I believe there's enough bulletin board material for the Patriots to get themselves in a mode or zone to dominate the Browns this weekend by at least 11.5. I mean, that's definitely going to happen.
I think this almost has just Browns implosion written all over it. Like, this is the point of the season where we've kind of been waiting for. They're coming off a bye. Maybe in that building they expect to come out and perform well. I could see them just getting the doors blown off.
Yeah, but also in a bye, you go home. You talk to your friends. You talk to your family. You talk to your boys. And they're like, hey, you guys stink, dude. Because whenever you're in the building, you get to kind of block that all out. You got blinders on. You're not listening to maybe what everything else is saying. Granted, that team is probably listening to everything, but you don't have your family with you every single day. You go home, you go on a vacation, you get a chance to look at it from a 30,000-foot view, basically. You know, man, this Freddie Kitchen guy is bad. Baker Mayfield's family's probably like, yeah, you can't say it, but this coach is putting you in a terrible position. And then maybe the offensive linemen are like, we stink, man. We are not good. We're just hanging on for dear life. And then the wide receivers, they probably hung out together, if I had to guess. Jarvis and Odell probably went somewhere.
On a boat off of Miami.
Which maybe that'll reverse the jinx.
They've done it before.
That happened at the Giants, after the Giants. But I'm wondering if they're having conversations like, man, this is not what we thought it was. And that either motivates you like, all right, we're going to go back and work harder and we're going to do this. Or it could potentially be like, yeah, we're not taking this for too much longer, are we? Nope. And then you go to the Patriots and lose by 60 or 70 or something like that. That has the makings for a magical Monday morning in the talking pundit world, especially after that game. You're 100% right. But if they win, complete different occasion.
Right. I just
Don't put that out there.
Well, and I just don't think that's going to happen. It's back.
I'm going to check it out.
I mean, what are you going to do, Zito? Are you going to go yell at the truck?
I'm going to stop him.
What are you going to do?
Well, who's going to be
put
here to misspell words?
Yeah, who's going to do that? Who's going to...
I already have my misspelled words loaded in.
How many trucks are back? There might be numerous trucks back there.
Truck wars.
Yeah.
I'm going to find out.
How much construction can they do on this block?
And does this guy ever drive forward? At what point does this guy start driving forward? It's almost cruel and unusual punishment at this point. It's getting louder.
Getting louder, yeah.
This is unbelievable. This is great sports
About the
stuff.
Kool-Aid man through the wall.
This is great. Andy Reid through the wall. Speaking of Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes is playing this weekend, they're saying, after he dislocates his kneecap just a week ago. That's mind-boggling to me. But if that thing just popped right back into the place where it's supposed to be, if his patella just went out and then came back and then just is all of a sudden good again, I mean, that'll be a magical story, I think, in medicine, but also to Pat Mahomes' incredible athleticism and freakiness. If it's like a shoulder where you can just pop it back in and go back in the fight. Did Zito just yell at that guy?
Yeah. You just heard Zito yell at them. Hey, keep it there.
Seemed to have worked. Zito's either dead, they ran him over. But Pat Mahomes playing, I think, is a very interesting move because I think the Chiefs are going to be able to win some games. Now, granted, they've lost a couple games, but I think the Chiefs will be able to win some games late and get in the playoffs. But if he can't move, they're going to be hindered by that massively.
Packers, too.
Couple
that's
formidable
not a joke
edge
defense.
rusher.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's the Packers, too. You're probably going to lose this game to begin with. You know what I mean? This is probably a game. Let's assume you're going to lose this game.
in Kansas City, but
Oh, maybe not.
And the
then.
Raiders are in Houston, and they're the only team that are close to you in your division. So you assume the Raiders are going to lose at Houston. Why don't you sit Patty out until the Raiders win a game?
Do you think that is the way they look at this? They would have to, right? Some stats and analytics guys okay, the Raiders are close. They're going down to Houston. We saw that Houston team. They beat us. Let's assume they're going to beat the Raiders. Because this stretch that the Raiders have been on has been incredibly difficult. I mean, they were in Indianapolis, and then they were in England, and then they were in Green Bay. Now they're in Houston. I think they have another one. At some point, a team can get exhausted from all the travel and the routine being completely ruined. Last week, the Packers dominated, but I think that was a combination of things. Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers started to click. They're saying, I want 5 touchdowns, I want 6 touchdowns. But also, that Raiders team could have got worn down. That is something that can very much happen, especially when you're traveling that much.
They went at Minnesota, at Indy, then they played Chicago, in London, and then they went at Green Bay, and now they're going to be at Houston.
Yeah, that's tough, especially when you're coming from the top left of the map. You know what I mean? So all those trips are long, let alone England, which is probably a 12-hour travel for them. There's a lot going on with that Oakland Raiders travel schedule. They came out guns a-blazing, and this schedule was not built for them to do well. No. Not about team-wise. Granted, playing the Packers, who are great, is tough, but also just the travel-wise. My last year in the NFL, we had the Hall of Fame game, so we had to go to training camp early. We had a game in London. We had a game on Thanksgiving. We had a game on Christmas Eve, and we had a game on New Year's, I believe, or New Year's Eve or something like that. No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does, actually.
Yeah.
So we had every single holiday and a trip to England and a longer training camp, even though the game got canceled. And I was thinking about retiring going into the year, and then by about, week 10, I was like, Man, I mean, this stinks. And I'm not like banging my head into anything. I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna miss Thanksgiving, obviously, just like it's college again, which is completely fine. I mean, that happens. You get a chance to play football, you should not complain about it. But it's just like those little things where you don't get to sleep at home, you don't get to do this, you got to go to training camp early, you got to do blah blah blah. There's just so many things that really play into it. You got to remember, these are humans out here. Yes, they're professional athletes, but they are humans. So let's assume that the Houston Texans will get a win. Let's assume that Patty Mahomes is going to lose to the Packers right now because the Packers are very hot. And that defense is very good, which is what has been the key to beating the Chiefs, is a good offense and a defense that can make, some plays. I think this is the Packers' game to win, and I think getting them back in there. But what if his knee is completely healthy? What if that patella, what if they're like, there's nothing we can do to make this better? Whatever you did, it did. I guess a little bit of rest can help, but a strained ligament or something, who knows how long that could take. We'll try to get you out there. I think his ankle should be more of a worry, I guess, at this point, but having a left ankle and a bum right knee is not a good recipe for Pat Mahomes' success, I don't think.
No, and the thing with the Chiefs and Packers is the Packers' weakness, what you would say, is the run game. The Chiefs don't really have a run game right now, so it's like, maybe just, I don't know.
What's that spread there?
Chiefs and Packers.
Chiefs are plus 3.5.
That is correct.
Rodgers is going to be highly motivated, too, with Mahomes phasing them out of those insurance commercials. Not going to like it.
He said on this show that he feels like he is getting kind of phased out of that insurance thing. He said it's
a real thing.
Feels like they're phasing me out. Also, everybody's talking about Pat Mahomes being the most talented quarterback to ever come in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, who kills people with indifference, doesn't say much publicly, but I'm sure he and Danica are watching that stuff being said at home like, oh, is that right? Did people forget when I threw a Hail Mary 95 yards?
It's also prime time.
Off the roof in Detroit. Do people forget that? Do people forget that I would literally outrun people, slide out of bounds, smile, toss the ball back to the ref, and then pat the person who just chased me down on the back and say, hey, not a bad effort there by you. Do people forget that I would scramble to my left and huck it off a one-leg sidearm 65 yards? Aaron Rodgers is probably thinking of all these things, and their offense is clicking. Oh, man. This is tough for the Chiefs here, pal.
Could already see him post-game with a big grin, talking about going home, having a glass of scotch.
Yeah, we really felt good today. That's coming in. We had a good plan. He'll be like so humble or whatever. Aaron, this is a game where Aaron Rodgers is going to go off again, especially coming fresh off a 6-touchdown performance. He knows that that's going to be tough to repeat. Let's see what we can do on prime time, you said?
Yeah, Sunday Night Football.
Which also might be why Pat Mahomes is playing, just for future reference.
Could be.
I mean, he's a primetime player. That's what you're going to want.
Matt Moore is hell of a primetime player. So
I mean, people are saying, not a lot of them. So people are saying. All right, I like the Packers there a lot. They're minus 3.5.
yeah,
I like the Packers a lot. On the road at the home of the Chiefs. Now, that's one of my favorite things that happens, but is that disrespectful to the national anthem?
if LeBron was doing it, yes.
That place is awesome out there. The old Chiefs Kingdom over there.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Arrowhead.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That place is incredible. Freezing cold every time I played there. Place was packed. Just absolutely packed. They're losing their mind. Get a little barbecue the night before. I think that's all they sell there. Tastes great. I mean, that place is an incredible place to play. But Aaron Rodgers is what I just saw practice film with Travis Kelce. Basically, fish out of water, dive with his shoulder to practice.
Watch out!
I mean, he is a dynamic player. Travis Kelce's dynamic. Tyreek Hill is dynamic. You name it. Sammy Watkins is playing good football. I mean, LaShawn McCoy is still going to be good. They got a lot of weapons on their team. But Pat Mahomes is a different Pat Mahomes when he can't just literally shake every human on the field. And Aaron Rodgers in prime time going against a team that has been said to have a better quarterback than any quarterback that has ever gotten in to the NFL. I mean, this is a very interesting situation. So it's interesting to play music to go into the break. I have to signal to Nick. Then Nick has to signal to Jay to turn on the volume of the music that he just decided to play. There has to be a better system.
DJ Z!
Packers minus 3.5. Hammer.
Love it.
Zito, did you go yell at a truck out there?
Yeah, I did. It was Pablo Picasso on the side of the building.
Oh, he's painting.
Not the real one, but the fake one.
What did you say?
Hey, shut it down!
What did he say?
Nothing. I think he had headphones in.
So he just yelled at nothing.
He's also he's European, so he probably didn't understand a word you said.
Oh, merci beaucoup, shut it down!
Actually,
I think it works.
not bad. That is a European country.
Yeah.
French is a different language that you just spoke properly.
Yes. And I threw Yinzers in there.
No, that's not what we sound like.
The guy's Swedish.
Yeah, he's Swedish.
Oh, was he a fish?
And he's Zito.
Swedish fish. 11-16.
Delicious, so they get stuck in your mouth.
They do go right to the roof like the Christ checks
Yeah.
at
good.
church. 11-16, you're listening to Pat McAfee Show. A lot of people wonder, Pat, what is on the DAZN app? I'll say this. It's fight season right now on the DAZN app. A lot of combat between humans. Bellator MMA, boxing matches, KSI, Logan Paul, 2 YouTubers strap it up in what should be an absolute slugfest. Our show's on there. And also, it's the home of Canelo Alvarez, a man that boxes with refrigerators on his wrist.
Officially weighing in at 159 and 1/2 pounds. Official weight 174, 1/2 pounds. Canelo Alvarez. Sergey
Power is something that Sergey Kovalev still has.
Dead.
Kovalev has a stiff jab still, and he throws punches with a
Dead.
lot of pop. They have weight classes for a reason, and we have seen fighters jump up a little too far and pay the price on it.
You know the punches are going to be bigger, they're heavier. I mean, it's just dangerous.
We need that throne stat. Canelo Alvarez, not a lot of redheads can pull off a good beard. Canelo Alvarez can do that. He can also knock your brain around your skull a little bit. Seems like whenever he lands a punch, people's bodies just stop working. It's interesting. I'm a big time boxing guy. Like most of America. I like this beat now. Hey. Yeah, I like this one. This one's a banger. I don't know who did it, but it's good. What was that?
Dwight Henry.
DJ Dwight Henry?
I believe the kids call that hyphy.
Oh, I don't think anymore. That seems like that was back in our day where they were saying hyphy. I don't know. That's a Bay thing, right?
Yeah.
What was that? The Juice Man? No, he's from. Was OJ the Juice Man?
He's from Atlanta, isn't he?
That's on me. San Francisco's gonna kill me for that. We are on in San Francisco, and there's so many good Bay rappers, and I just
Tech
named
9, E40.
I just named the guy from Atlanta. They're gonna be like, we hate you. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but your 49ers just got better at football with Emmanuel Sanders. Let's not confuse it. Emmanuel Sanders' teammates, Von Miller, the face of the franchise for the Denver Broncos, says, we have a young team, we have a good team. We want people that want to be Broncos, that want to build this thing here. I can't wait to hear what happened. Emmanuel Sanders said he and John Elway had a conversation that the way the team was going, they were looking young, that he doesn't have a lot of years left, he wants to play, and basically John Elway said, hey, if anything pops up, I'll keep you in the discussion, basically. Which was, by the way, a very candid conversation to be revealed by Emmanuel Sanders there, where he went to John Elway and was like, hey, I kind of want out of here, dude. Is there any way that you can get me off the sinking ship that you've had for since Peyton left? That's an interesting situation, because then does John Elway go straight to Von Miller and say, listen to what Emmanuel Sanders just said? Probably a pretty toxic little environment in there if that's the case. Von Miller, I think he assumed, likes Emmanuel Sanders as a human, but took the right leadership approach, saying that we want people that want to be Broncos here. And for the San Francisco 49ers, I think they got better. Ryan Clark yesterday, who was incredible on the show, said that move immediately makes the Niners much better because, yes, George Kittle's there. He does well. But Emmanuel Sanders has enough in the tank left to be a good number 2, a good number 1 guy. He can get a lot of reps. He's going to do well for them. And with Kyle Shanahan's big old brain, I assume he's going to utilize him in a good fashion. Good for the Niners, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan getting better at football.
I could be wrong, but isn't the West Coast system basically like great route running, and that's what Emmanuel Sanders does, versus Flacco, where you just kind of like throw a hope and a prayer up and see what happens?
What's your problem, man?
Flacco.
Why is that your problem? It's not your problem anymore. He's in Denver. He's not in Baltimore.
Well, you just build this hate.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah. Good, well said.
Oh, you guys are on a team now against Flacco? You two over there?
Always happened.
Jeez. All right, let's not finish each other's
Great beard, good hair, terrible quarterback.
Used to have terrible hair. Used to look like Bert or Ernie. Can't remember which one.
He had quite a... I mean, that picture that we're showing of him, not great. But Joe Flacco had quite a glow-up, just like Gordon Hayward, just like Julian Edelman.
That one DJ.
Calvin Harris.
Yeah.
Some of these guys get a lot of money and get very attractive. Feels like our room going the opposite direction. Feels like our room's going the opposite direction. Let's go to Trey in Atlanta. If I know anything about Atlanta, it's that Trey has at least smelled cocaine 2 times.
Trey, what's up?
What's up, Pat? Hey, man, I just want to start off by saying what happened to BTS Fridays.
Good call. Actually, everybody knows. Trey, why would you do that to us? Now we have to do it. Trey, why would you do that to us? Now we literally have to do it. We love BTS. Everybody knows we love BTS. Can't play their music, though. Yeah, we can't even play. By the way, can't play NSYNC, which is a much lesser band than BTS. We can't play the Jonas Brothers, which I would assume have watched film on BTS to become a better band because their songs have gotten a lot better now that they're adults. Some would say that whenever they were in their little break time, they were watching BTS to get better. And I'm a sucker for you has really paid off for them. So we love the BTS, Trey. Thanks for making us do that for sure.
Yeah, but I would just say that it's really easy for you to pick the Patriots on this one, man. I think that Cleveland this week with Nick Chubb, if he can stay consistent, and Jarvis Landry and Odell, they need a week, and they've been begging for one, and if they have a good week and Baker can at least come out and play, I think that the Cleveland Browns get a good shot of winning that game.
Yeah, I mean, if you can score more points than the other team, you're going to win. I mean, Trey, that's great analysis there. What do you mean it's easy then for me to pick the Patriots if you're saying that the Browns are basically going to run away with this one? That's what it sounds like you're saying, Trey.
I'm not saying they're going to run away with it. I'm just saying it's so easy to pick the Patriots at this point in the game. And you're not
for
thinking
good reason.
about it. I mean,
what do you want me to do, Trey?
Winners are winners.
Trey, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? You want me to say, you know what, Tom Brady didn't even acknowledge the fact and probably doesn't even know that the entire world thought the Browns were going to be the king of the AFC. Nobody, you want me to acknowledge the fact that Bill Belichick doesn't held little petty things against anybody like the Browns firing him way back in the day. Let's just not acknowledge the fact that, yes, Chubb has done well, but that offensive line is bad and that Belichick won't be able to stop that. You want me to acknowledge the fact that all these things, is that what you want me to do? Or just take the easy way and say that, the greatest team in the history of teams is probably going to beat the dog crap out of Cleveland? I don't like it. I'm part of Dog Pound.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a part of Dog Pound. I don't like it, Trey. I don't want to say this, but this just sounds like something that's going to happen whenever my brain starts putting 1 and 1 together, 2 and 2 together. It all adds up. That's 2 and 4. You know what I'm saying, Trey?
I agree, but I just think that this week especially, it's a week that they got to make a decision if this is going to be a tank year and try to get another stud, or if this is going to be a year where they got to put up some numbers. And I think with the expectations coming into this year, I think they're going to try, and this is a must-win. I know every week in the NFL is a must-win, but for them especially, this game is make or break. Now what is this, week 6, 7, 8, whatever it is? But
I appreciate Trey. I appreciate what Trey's doing. And I hope the Browns try. I mean, I do hope they try.
That'd be good.
But
hey, hopes and prayers are nice.
If ifs and buts were candies and nuts.
It's true.
You felt so good about that. You almost did an entire chair spin with that. You almost did an entire...
I didn't know if I stepped on Nick. I didn't know if he had more to his.
That was good. We were finishing each other's sentences.
You almost did like a curtain call for that one. You almost did an entire thing. Good for you, dude. Honestly, we're just saying what we think is going to happen. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. And I know everybody is probably like, the Patriots are going to dominate the Browns. And I wish I could be the antagonist here like our guy Trey, who I appreciate, by the way, he has that much faith in the Browns. That guy's a loyal Dog Pound member at this point. I don't know if tanking is going to be what they're going to do. I think players are going to try to get out of there if things aren't going well. And I think old Freddie Kitchen, I think to steal a term from Mr. Rex Ryan, I believe his butt is currently charred right now. Mm-hmm. I would assume that old Dorsey and the owner, the guy, Pilot Flying J or whatever guy, have had a little conversation with him, like, hey, we're going to have to turn some things around, or we spend a lot of money on this team. We're going to look for them to do something with Freddie Kitchen. I'm not saying they're going to fire him, but, boy, there has to be some conversations if this gets ugly here the next couple weeks, and it seems like it's going to.
You get the number one defense in the NFL going against a team that throws the ball, a lot of interceptions, and fumbles the ball a lot. They turn the ball over a lot. Those are facts,
and
right?
They're not disciplined. You're playing against the Patriots.
Most penalized team in the NFL.
And Trey's reasoning there was that they are going to try harder.
Try. I think you can just go into Foxborough and be like, you know what, this week, I think we're going to get our stats up this week.
Now, you know what happened whenever we played the Patriots all those times? I just don't think we were trying. And that is, now that I think about it.
That was what was
the
missing.
downfall.
Man. Let's have a moment of silence for our effort in those games against the Patriots. You kidding me, Zito? I mean, what was that?
Quick sip break. That's on me.
Yeah,
that was quiet time.
It is on you. I thought the truck was going to break it. By the way, I was going to take that one all the way to the break. We're 6 minutes away from our next break. I was going to take that one all the way. I was going to do it. Just for a little record.
I need a hydration. I apologize.
Sports talk, no talk. Jared in Green Bay. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. With Mahomes being dinged up, do you think there's anyone that can beat the Patriots in the regular?
The Colts can, Jared. I mean, I don't know. I think he was going to say in the regular season. I don't know if the Colts and Patriots play. But to be honest, the Colts and the Patriots are on a collision course. And am I saying that because I'm a homer? Maybe. But I know that this team has something that the teams that I was on didn't have. That's an incredible offensive line and a hungry defense with a quarterback that is not just managing games. He's taking over games. Jacoby Brissett is yet to get enough respect in the entire quarterback world still to this day. I think that'll change down the line. I like the Colts a lot going in, but you still have to beat the Patriots. You still have to try hard whenever you're playing against the Patriots. Right. And by the way, the Patriots can be demoralizing. That is just something that can happen. And they don't mind stepping on your throat. Mm-mm. They're not looking to just win by one. They are looking to get better every single snap of the ball, which is why you mix that with an incredible level of intelligence, with incredible performances by players, and you put that all in a pot and you sprinkle a little spite on top. That team buries humans. I mean, it's just something we'll never see again. We will never see this Patriots team again, ever. especially now with the way social media is and egos and stuff like that. It's going to be hard to be another coach and get to that level, I think, because the way Belichick coaches is not fun. It's not easy. We do the Patriot way. So you still have to beat the Patriots if you're the Colts. But, man, I think we have a team that can at least put up a fight and win a game late because Jacoby is a guy that has that, he's a dog. He's got a dog in him. I'm a big fan of him. Let's go to Darian. Incredible name. Down there in Venice, Florida. What's going on, Darian?
What's going on, guys? So, Pat, I'm curious, what is the locker room like for a Miami Dolphins player right now?
Great question. I was on a team that was very bad at football. We almost were completely defeated until Dan Orlovsky showed up and got 2 big wins. We ended up almost losing the luck pick because Dan Orlovsky, everybody thinks they're going to get fired. Every player thinks they're going to get cut. Every coach thinks they're going to get fired. They try to pawn blame off on other positional groups. If it's the linebackers, they're like, we did our job. D-line can't do anything, can't stop it. There's a lot of that chatter, but it's a miserable existence. I mean, it's just the way it is. That's why you have to have so much respect for a player like Joe Thomas, who played a perennial all-pro career in a situation that was so negative and so terrible. I think if Joe Thomas got a chance and his knees let him experience a winning organization, I couldn't even fathom what Joe Thomas would have thought. I mean, life is just much better whenever you win. When you win, food tastes better. Drinks taste better. Sex feels better. Everything is better when you win. Winning cures all, they say. That's not just in the building and for a football team. That's in your life. Everything is just better when you win. And when you lose, especially when you're talking about some of the most competitive humans on earth, it is a nightmare. You got a lot of people trying to jump off the ship. You got a lot of people trying to figure it out. And whenever you're in a situation like that, it's just a full-blown nightmare for everybody. You got to think, when you get to the NFL, let's assume that the humans that make it to the NFL have had a lot of success through their lives. High school football, probably one good player, a guy who's going to make the NFL can lead a team to success. In college, if you have a couple good players that can make the NFL and make it to the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins think you're still going to make it to the NFL, let's assume that team has had success. So then you get to a completely unsuccessful operation, a completely defeated operation, and then it's like, man, this is a whole new life for us. I'll never forget, I had a coach, special teams coach. I won't say his name because this is a terrible thing to say as a coach. We lost the game. It was back in the first regime. We were a good team. We lost the game, and everybody was moping. Like people were not happy that we lost the game the next day. He was, you guys just haven't lost enough. That's what he said. Everybody looked at him and was like, yeah, no crap. What are you talking about, dude? Yeah, this is the winningest decade in NFL history here. Yeah, you haven't lost enough. It's like, you've lost too much, maybe. Are you just comfortable at this point? And that's whenever it can get a little scary. Whenever people are just comfortable just getting their asses kicked every week, that could be a problem. That's when the culture is probably a lost cause. That's when the locker room's too worried about playing dice or playing Boo-Ray or anything else like that. When that starts happening after losses, then you know you're in a bad spot. And I would assume that's not happening at the Dolphins, especially under Ryan Fitzpatrick's watch. But maybe it is. I don't know. But that is a miserable existence. I am not a fan of that.
What does Flores say on a daily basis? Let's just get.
All right, boys. Look around. It's like probably before Buds, before Navy SEAL.
Yep.
Look to your right. Look to your left. One of you is going to be gone by next week. All right. One of you aren't going to make the next week. If any one of you even thinks about winning this weekend, gone. See you later. We'll get you out of town quicker than you could imagine. Remember that. We go for 2, by the way, at the end of the game to get a win. You drop that pass. You'll get a promotion probably. I have no idea what Flores says. This is his first time being a head coach, too, so we have no idea what he's like as a head coach. And I've heard 0 press conferences of that man. I've heard him speak 0 times because the entire world, I think, even the Miami writers are like, yeah, he's trying to lose. I mean, what do you Can't judge the guy. Can't judge him. Can't knock him. He's trying to lose. There's really nothing we can do. So I'll be excited to see what they can build. And maybe in 5 years from now, Gumpy and all the other Dolphins fans who signed up for a life of misery since Marino has literally said, yeah, this all pays off. But this year, it's got to be tough to watch. But I guess every year's tough to watch when you're a Dolphins fan. It's just the way it goes.
People love them to cover on Monday night.
Against the Steelers.
84% of the money's on the Dolphins.
Oh, my God, dude.
14 points is a lot of points.
You just stopped there? Offsides. Is that you, Jay?
Don't point fingers at me, Jay. That was unbelievable.
Jay's had a rough Jay's had a rough go this morning. Jay's getting a new job. He's handling the board. He's been here for a couple weeks. I think it's one of those situations where you get content, you get comfortable, and then you just snooze on it a little bit. I couldn't do that board. I couldn't do a single thing. There's so many buttons over there, it's like you're flying a ship.
That's what Jay's good at, though. Tapping things, pushing things.
I
Pushing
agree.
buttons.
I agree. Jay is good at pressing buttons. He's a tappy guy. Today we've had a couple misses. He'll get better over the weekend. That's what Jay would do. He's a McAfee. I don't know how we're related, but we are. Little emo here. I didn't know they had hack emo.
Oh, no, this is without words. This is someone tweeted at you, and you threw it over to me and said, play this guy. So here we are.
I did not say play this guy. I added you just to look at it.
You said,
Nick
play
pointing
this
fingers.
guy. That's what I assumed that meant. So here we go.
I did not say play this guy. What's this guy's name?
Without words.
That's the name of the band or
Yeah.
the song?
The name of the band. The name of the song is called Catharsis.
Let's
That's how
turn
I
it
feel
up.
right now.
I don't know
Listen
what
to this.
catharsis means, but let's turn this up and hear it. Without feelings?
Without words.
Which I'm hearing words, so it's confusing, dude.
Let's hear how good they are, though. I just walked into Abercrombie & Fitch. I need to exercise small. I don't think your pants fit, but I'll get double XL shirt that you got, so it looks like I spent a little bit of money in here. What's that smell? Is that you guys new cologne? Like, I'm going to walk over to Hollister. We'll be back on the other side. You listen to the Pat McAfee Show. Shout out Without Words for sending in copyright-free music. Hey, can you hear me? My man. All right, we're coming out of break in like a minute.
Okay. Is the noise in the back a problem, or you can hear me good?
No, that's incredible. Where are you at right now?
I'm down in Orlando.
Stylish chair available. You're in a salon right now, huh?
Yeah.
You getting us twisted up?
Yeah, I had to step out.
That's a process, dude.
It's definitely a process, a long process.
All right, we'll be back in like 30 seconds. I appreciate you.
Okay, appreciate you.
Hey, Chris, can you turn that thing sideways? There we go. Yeah. Perfect.
Crimson skies, diamond eyes, telling you you're
You've heard them in Hollister, Abercrombie and Fitch, Aeropostale, and American Eagle. Without words, independent artists with the bangers there. We appreciate them allowing us to play their music. Although it is not a style of music I would normally listen to, I'm very thankful for them. Joining us now is a man who has an NFL record for all-purpose yards from scrimmage. This man is electric. I think he ran the first 4.2 40 in the history of the game, besides Deion Sanders. Running back for the Titans, you know him as that. Played for the Cardinals a little bit. An electric figure. Ladies and gentlemen, CJ2K, Chris Johnson.
What's up, man?
Hey, I appreciate you joining us today. Every time I chat with you, I enjoy the hell out of it. You're getting your hair twisted up today. I appreciate you taking time with us.
Yeah, a little twist, getting it right.
I had long hair one time. I thought about getting it twisted up one night with Joseph Adai, and then I watched him get his hair done. It is an incredibly long process and painful process. I'm happy I don't have to do.
Very long and painful.
Well, the hair looks great. Seems like you're still growing it. Do you still watch the game, and who's your team of choice nowadays? Or are you just pulling for players?
Yeah, I still watch the game. You know, I'm a Titans guy, man. That's the team that, that gave me the opportunity coming out, drafting me, and I'm all Titans, man.
Well, okay, so when you were with the Titans, for a stretch there, it was the Chris Johnson show. I mean, that's exactly what it was. Whether it was a kick return, offense, I'm surprised they didn't put you at defense there for a little bit. You were getting the ball. 2,509 yards is a lot of yards. Do you think that'll be something that'll ever be touched for the rest of the NFL?
Records are meant to be broken, but it's crazy that record is so many yards. And I was just talking to somebody the other day, like when I broke that record, I didn't even know I broke the record until the press conference after the game. I was just had my eyes focused on the 2,000 yards. So I got that, and I didn't even know I had that record. But it's been I've been seeing Christian McCaffrey. He been doing this thing this year with the the all-purpose yards. So we're gonna see if he able to hold up or whatever.
Do you like Christian McCaffrey's game? I expect that you respect it. I think that would be something you would have to.
Yeah, of course I respect it, because you got to think, when I came into this league, everybody, their featured backs and guys that was going first round and high first round, man, the running back had to be 225, 230 pounds to be seen as an every down featured back. Once I came in the league and did what I did, I changed that whole mindset of teams around this league. I changed that mindset. Like, there's no way that you would ever see a running back Christian McCaffrey size. I think who else? C.J. Spiller came in at his size, and they was like top 10 picks. You never seen that before I came in the league and did what I did. But once I changed the game, now you see those backs going higher and teams looking for guys that can run the ball and also catch out of the backfield. Because when I came in, those guys, my body style, fast guys, we were viewed as third down backs. Now they're feature backs.
It's interesting. You Darren Sproles is a guy who everybody, if there's an undersized player, they're like, oh, this guy could be the next Darren Sproles. White guy, they're like, this guy could be the next Wes Welker. That's just kind of to be that type of a trailblazer at a position has to feel good. But even you said there about Christian McCaffrey, if he can hold up, he'll be able to potentially do it. You get your ass kicked at running back. That's just what happens, especially when the offense goes through you. What were some experiences that you had there wherever you were like, you know what, sore, getting your ass kicked, but still had to go make plays for your team?
Man, the whole thing, you got to give it all up to God, first of all. And
okay.
It's just how you take care of your body, how you eat. You got to make sure after that game that you go in there and you get in the weight room. You be sore and sometimes you just want days off, but you got to make sure you stay in the weight room. And then you got to have a good coach behind you to know when to give you a break, when to tell you, hey, you're not going to practice these couple days or whenever. The whole goal is to get your body right and to get you right for Sunday. And that takes yourself, and that also takes the staff around you, the medical staff, the trainers, and also your coach.
Okay, I don't want to bring up a bad memory. I was good friends with Clint Session. He had one of the biggest hits I've ever seen in my life on you, and you bounced, to your credit, bounced right up. But I honestly thought there was a chance you were dead for a second. I mean, to play running, you remember that? Yeah.
No, I don't remember that play. When?
No, Chris, you have to. Chris, this is something you have to remember. He blew up a gap, and you two met, and it was just like you got very unfortunate. I mean, it was just a bad timing. But
it probably just looked that bad. It probably wasn't that bad.
Well, yeah, that's what you bounce right back up. Like the incredible toughness it takes to be a running back in the league is amazing. Do you think that is why you see a lot of stable operations like with the Colts right now? They have Marlon Mack, Nyheim Hines, and this guy Wilkins who's also a stud. In teams, you're seeing a lot of like running back by committee as opposed to the featured back. Do you think that'll continue to happen going forward because of how hard it is to remain healthy at running back?
Man, yeah, I definitely think that would happen. Like so you only got a few teams, and if I can think of them, Dallas, they is one guy. It's not many teams that's using the one guy system. It's like the whole league now is like using two guys, and that helps guys' career last longer. The type of way football is these days is not how it was when I played. Now you can't hit anybody like that. I was watching the game probably like 2-3 weeks ago, and I seen the running back come through and lower his head on the guy or whatever, and he got a penalty for that. I'm like, what you play running back? What you want us to do? It's crazy. So the leader is doing things now to help guys stay healthy and to last longer.
Okay, so there's been a lot of things happening off the field this year, more so than ever in the past. From Melvin Gordon holding out, he said he'll never miss training camp again. What did he mean by that? Is that the reps that you get in training camp? Is he feels out of shape, or what do you think?
I know for sure he's definitely out of shape, and I wouldn't say out of shape like he haven't been working out and going hard. Yes, he have, but you can't get into football shape unless you play football, and every athlete knows that. So like when I held out and eventually came back, I think that was probably one of my worst seasons. Like I ran for over 1,000 yards, but it took me like 3-4 weeks to get in my groove. Know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when you go to training camp, that month of training camp before the season starts, that is your time to get in your groove so you can hit the ground running when week 1 comes. So if you miss the whole training camp, and then I think Gordon he missed some time during the season. Yeah. So by the time he get in his groove, we already at week 8? Mm-hmm. By the time he get in his groove, the season gonna be about over.
Well, it basically is for Jordan. I mean, that season's about done for them. And that's such an interesting thing because no players will ever admit that. Like when Melvin Gordon came out and he was like, I'll never do this, was a mistake. Usually players don't admit that because it was a business decision, it was a personal decision, and to admit fault is something that not a lot of people do. To hear you say that right there is actually massive to hear because it's like It's a real life circumstance there. You said you still got 1,000 yards, which is hilarious. Hey, just want to let you know, I still got 1,000. Let's not get crazy here. But you felt like that was your worst season, I'd assume, yeah?
Yeah. Like, that was one of my worst seasons statistically. And if you just look at it, be real with yourself, you look at guys who held out. You look at Zeke. I don't think Zeke's in the top 5 rushing this year. And you know Zeke usually lead the league in rushing. Look at Le'Veon Bell. He sat out a whole year. And he come back, and I feel like he's getting back into his groove. But when you sit out, it takes time because the things that we do in training camp and the things that we do with the team and all that, you can't get that done by yourself. Like, wherever you train at, like, you can't get in that same type of shape. Like, Le'Veon Bell held out and missed the whole entire year of football. Zeke set out the whole training camp. So those guys, I feel like they going to get in their groove, but it just takes time. So, and then the whole Melvin Gordon situation, like, you say Le'Veon and you say Zeke, those guys set out, but they got a new contract. So it's okay. You know what I'm saying? They taking time. It's okay. But Melvin sat out, didn't get a contract, and then when it's time, I don't know if he going to hit free agency next year or whatever it is, teams don't go off how good of player or how good of season you had 2 years ago. They going to go off your last season. So it's a business decision, and you got to know what you're doing.
Hey, Chris, we got a hard out here in like a minute and a half. The state of the Titans is a hilarious one right now. Do you believe in what Vrabel's putting down there? You think they're going to be good in the future?
Yeah, I think we're going to be good. You know, we just got to keep working, man, get things turned around, and we're going to be all right.
I want to let you know, you were always so much fun to watch. You and Lendale White were an incredible little tag team down there. So much fun to watch. I don't think there will ever be a player as explosive as you were, as versatile and as tough as you were. And I can't thank you enough for joining us mid-salon trip there for the hair. You're the absolute best. Hey, I hope to talk to you again soon, man. Cheers. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Johnson. Cheers, man. Appreciate you. Hey, he was lightning in a bottle whenever he had it.
Dalvin Cook reminds me of him a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Dalvin Cook has the chance. Dalvin Cook's a little stockier, though. I think that's the thing about Dalvin Cook is everybody knew that he would be a 3-down back, even back in the day that he's talking about. And it is interesting because a little scat back is what they were called. Remember that guy? This guy's a scat back. He can get out in the flat if you need him. He's a good check down. Not going to be able to pass protect, though. Can't be in the first couple of downs. Can't run in between the tackles. Chris Johnson was doing it all. The fact that he doesn't remember that Clint Session tackle is kind of scary to me. Clint, I mean, it was one of the biggest hits I've ever seen in my life. I was like, oh, my God. It was like when you time it up perfectly. Clint Session, who was a notoriously hard hitter, he had 3 concussions in one game, I guess, and he had to retire. I mean, that's kind of a scary – or 3 – yeah. I mean, that's scary to think about. But he was a notoriously hard hitter, led with his head, and he caught him. And Chris bounced right back up. It was one of the most impressive things. I was like, oh, my God, I'm probably laid out for a week or 2 after that. Chris got right back up. The top 7, I think he got shot, too. Yeah. Played like a week later. I mean, Chris Johnson, I can't thank him enough for joining us. That guy is a very good football player. Hopefully we get a chance to chat with him again. The state of the running back position is always an interesting one to chat about because it doesn't matter until December. Yeah. December is when running backs come into play heavily. So what do we got today? Lombardi throws the hammer, the Jets, the Raiders, Philadelphia, and the Giants. I'll listen to him because he's been right, but that sounds absurd to me. We're hammering the Packers. We like the Packers a lot, and the Patriots. -11 and -3.5, respectively. Let's have an incredible weekend. By the way, it's going to be a big one in our lives. Some massive news is coming out today at some point. Pretty pumped up about that. We're all lucky that you listen and hang out with us. We can't thank you enough. Shout out Westwood One. Shout out The Zone. To hell with Greg from the Houston Astros. Another week down. We can't wait to chat with you Monday. Have the best weekend of your life. Cheers. This has been the Pat McAfee Show from Indianapolis, Indiana. You're the best.